Hey everybody, we're at Old Tucson Studios today. Gonna do a little walkthrough, check the place out. So stay with us, check out the footage.
Now, my name is Santee and I'll be your guide. Welcome to Old Tucson. This is pretty exciting that you're all here today. We got lots to do. So, the first thing that's going to happen after we get started here about 11:15, I'm going to drop you off in front of a gunfight. Not in front of the guns, just the gunfight. That'd be weird otherwise. But after the gunfight, which lasts about 10 minutes, we'll pick the tour back up again and finish it off. Of course, if you need to go and do something else, I understand that too. But I still have important stuff to say. Now, this got started way back in 1939 because Columbia Pictures decided to make a movie called Arizona. Well, that's the tour, kind of, so that's pretty much it. Now, they had a $2.3 million budget to make this movie with. Now, think about that. That's a Great Depression. That's a lot of money. So they decided not to film it in California, but to come out here and make it here. They love this spot because of what you all drove through to get here today. You drove through a forest of saguaro cactus out there. Anybody's first time seeing saguaros today? A couple of you? Yeah. Well, you're welcome. I planted them this morning for you. Good. The rugged mountain range on the other side. Perfect. Nestled in between the two, we've got 300 prime acres to make a set. The set we're going to make is the entire town of Tucson from 1862. It's kind of a tall order, right? I mean, we couldn't use the existing town on the other side of that mountain. By 1939, it didn't look like the Old West anymore. Got to make it from scratch, and that meant building out of adobe. Is everybody familiar with adobe as a building material? Not Photoshop. The other one? Yeah. So we're surrounded by adobe right now, and there's a reason. Back in those days, getting lumber trees was very difficult out here, and we don't have them. You probably noticed that. People from Oregon are like, yeah, you ain't got no trees. That's true, we don't. We have these. Those are supposed to be trees, but we're not making any buildings with those. Maybe Dr. Seuss buildings, I don't know. So, they built out of adobe. They hired a local Native American tribe named the Tohono O'odham, who built us 350,000 adobe bricks. And 82 buildings later, welcome to Old Tucson, circa the Civil War. Now we got to get some actors. Gene Arthur, William Holden played the leads, hired a bunch of locals for actors. It's kind of like what they do today is they hired locally. And then the movie comes out in 1940, but more importantly, we have a set here. Sadly, nothing happens to it until 1946 after the war. Then the local Junior Chamber of Commerce comes out and builds it back up again. Hollywood comes back out. 31 pictures later, a new guy shows up, Bob Shelton. Bob Shelton, that's his museum over there. He comes out here, and he's the one who comes up with the idea of actually making this into a theme park as well as a movie set. Because he knows that the one thing missing from this place is you. He's going to get you out here. He's going to let you cross through those doors and experience not only Western history, but movie cinema history, right? He wants you to see movies being made, and it's not going to be a problem because they're going to put ropes up. Guys, it was a revolving door of movies back then and TV shows, so there's a good chance you're going to watch something being made. All right, now, in 1960, he opens those gate doors. He's got rides over here for the kid. He's ready to go, and he expects 2,000 people to come through him the first weekend because that would signal success. But you have to understand one thing. This is the heyday of Westerns. 7 out of every 10 TV shows were Westerns in 1960. Every fourth movie being made was a Western. So he didn't get 2,000 people. He got 50,000 people. That's great, right? But if you're not prepared for 50,000 people, you may have a problem. Let's go check out the problem. Okay, so look off to your left shoulder. You're going to see that ramshackle of an adobe building right there. And back in 1960, that was our only bathroom. 50,000 people went to the bathroom in or around that building back then, and it didn't have running water for another decade. So if it's okay with you, we're not going in. Okay with that? Okay, good. Now let's keep walking. You're going to see a couple more original buildings over here. One of them shows you the Olsen's photography. That Olsen is the same Olsen you probably remember from a funny little show called Little House on the Prairie. That happened because of one man, Michael Landon. And if you remember Michael Landon, he was the guy who cried every episode. Remember that dude? Yeah. He's shooting an episode of Bonanza out here. And if you're wondering, Bonanza, Gunsmoke, Have Gun Will Travel, The Rifleman, Wagon Train, Death Valley Days, they all filmed here at some point. If you're looking for us, look for the episodes that take place in Texas or Mexico. That's us. In fact, we've been Texas more than Texas has been Texas. So, yeah. But we got to play Arizona for an entire TV show, entire TV series called The High Chaparral. That filmed out here from 1966 to 1971. So if you want to see that movie set, or that TV set, it is a movie set today too. The stagecoach is showing up here in just a little while. We'll take you out there. All right. This is a very important area. We just passed that same stage depot is the OK Corral freight depot. That's from a movie that was filmed out here in 1957 called Gunfight at the OK Corral. Starred Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas. Anybody see it? Yeah, okay, good. If you didn't, yeah, there's a dozen movies about the OK Corral, so I'm sure you saw another one. In this one, we got Kirk Douglas back here playing Doc Holliday, you know, and he's blasting bad guys. And one of the guys he's looking for is his arch enemy, Johnny Ringo. Johnny Ringo and Doc Holliday hate each other in another movie filmed out here in 1993 about the same subject. Anybody know the name of that one? Tombstone, right, right. In that movie, Doc Holliday is played by Val Kilmer, who sadly we lost yesterday. But in this one, Johnny Ringo's scared to death of Doc Holliday, and he can't beat him in a gunfight, and he knows it. So he's running around trying to spot him so he can get away from him. He shows up at the blacksmith shop behind you. And I know you can't see it now, but right behind Smitty, our blacksmith, is a window. And in that window, good old Kirk Douglas appears with that 6-gun he just shot 58 bullets out of, but he still has 4 more rounds, and he shoots Johnny Ringo. The problem with that is that that never happened historically because Johnny Ringo didn't die at the OK Corral. He wasn't even there. So that's one of the things we have to talk about is the perception of history versus Hollywood. A lot of you probably get angry because Hollywood doesn't get the history right. Don't bother, don't waste it. Guys, they're not trying to get it right. They're not. I've been in enough to tell you right now, they're not trying. Let them do what they want to do because they're entertaining you. If it inspires you to look up the real history, they've done a good job, right? Okay, this is also a very important area if you're a John Wayne fan because this is the epicenter of all things John Wayne here at Old Tucson. That building was in Rio Bravo, followed by McClintock, then El Dorado, then Rio Lobo in that order. In Rio Bravo and Rio Lobo, the gunfights happen in the back of the building. In Rio Bravo, it's where the good guys are. In Rio Lobo, it's where the bad guys are, right? In McClintock, John Wayne chases Maureen O'Hara all around town towards the end of the movie, and they're fighting. They're a married couple. And towards the end, she goes in the back of the same barn that we've been talking about. As she exits out the front door, somebody closes it, and it rips her dress off and leaves her in her underwear from the 1800s. It's not a dirty movie, guys. There were like 9 layers back then.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, all right. El Dorado uses the back of the building too with the scene with Ed Asner, but the front gets used by this new guy on the screen by the name of James Caan. You might know him. James Caan is was at 5 TV shows, so he's ready to go. He comes up here with John Wayne because unfortunately his role in the movie Mississippi has proven that he can't shoot a gun. So John Wayne takes him to Sweet Larson's gun shop to get him a gun he can shoot. What does he get? A sawed-off shotgun. Because you can't miss with a sawed-off shotgun. Unless you're James Caan in the movie El Dorado, in which case you miss every shot, right? So it's kind of a comedic role he plays, but also a historic one. By the way, there's the stagecoach that'll take you out to the High Chaparral, all right? All right, welcome to Town Square. This is kind of where everything's happening today. The gunfight in 5 minutes is going to be right here, so I got you good seats. So I know they're not seats, but whatever. Now we crossed a bridge to get here. I know you probably didn't realize you crossed a bridge, but it's a very important bridge, and I'll tell you why. you're going to go home and watch movies. I know this guy's already seen a million of them. I'm sure some of you have. But you're going to go home and watch movies, and you're going to look for some of these buildings you saw today. And by the way, we passed by a bunch of historic buildings from the original set, so please go and explore them later, all right? Working here, I can tell you, buildings are not a good indicator because they change so much in 86 years. Don't get frustrated if you don't see the building. It's there, it just looks different. But that bridge rarely changes. Every actor crosses it in every movie. It's a terrific landmark, so go ahead and check that bridge out in the movies. You'll see it. All right, Hotel Del Toro, Apothecary, and Brewery are all from the 1940 movie Arizona. They're all made out of adobe, but they have makeup on. All that plaster's makeup. I'll tell you about that. You see it in a very famous movie called Winchester 73. In that movie, a black and white film, we get a very famous actor who comes across that bridge, ties his horse off right there. Does anybody happen to know who that fella is? Jimmy Stewart. Good job, right. Jimmy Stewart's out here. Now, there was another side to the street, and all of this ended out in the desert way past that water tower, okay? The street that it intersected with, right back there where the water tower is the town of Mankato, Minnesota, from Little House on the Prairie, because that's what we were for the entire series. So if you remember that, that's what we were. That's not what it was built for. It was built for a half a dozen other movies and TV shows. Whenever Little House came out, they just changed the signs. That's how that works. But now, we have an interesting connection between Little House on the Prairie and the movie Tombstone, because they both use the same street. In that movie, Tombstone, you see Val Kilmer riding away from that street with his girlfriend Kate, bound for Tombstone after leaving Fort Griffin, Texas. The next time you see the streets is a little bit later in the movie, about an hour into the movie. They're in Tombstone, so they just put the cameras on the other side of the street. And we're in Tombstone, Arizona. It's a fun scene. You probably know this one because Johnny Ringo's drunk. He's in the street threatening the Earps. I want your blood, and I want your souls, and I want them both right now. Well, the Earps don't want anything to do with him, but Doc Holliday does. He's got that 6-gun hidden behind his back, and he utters a very famous challenge. What does he say?
I'll be your husband.
There you go, the Huckleberry line. That all happens back there behind the Big Jake's restaurant. That was also where our soundstage was, where they shot the interior to the birdcage sequence, and also a bunch of other scenes. All right, now, where are those streets? They're gone. 2 years after that, we had a fire on the set. An arson came out and set a fire and burned down 23 buildings. Now, that's bad, right? Nobody was hurt, that's good. Everybody got out, 300 people got out, animals, and we lost those buildings and some props. The reason we're still here today is because, remember, I told you, we had 82 buildings to begin with. So 82 minus 23 means we lost less than half. We actually did pretty good. Could have been a lot worse. Like in California, those sets got completely demolished by fires. We're still here. And we still have a lot of our original buildings. That's why we're still here. Still making movies. Famous actor in 1951 comes here and makes a movie called The Last Outpost. And his movie changes the second story of the Hotel Del Toro, right? That guy used to also be a president of the United States, so you better get this one.
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, right. Now, if you've never seen Ronald Reagan as a young man actor in a Western, skip it. It's terrible. Watch something else. Now, Ronald Reagan was good, I will tell you that. I couldn't take my eyes off him throughout the whole movie, which is pretty impressive. But the movie itself, you know, they're not all winners at Old Tucson, let's put it that way. Second story, first story, won't look like that for 30 years. It's a busy 30 years. People crossing that bridge, Elizabeth Taylor, Anne Margaret, Henry Fonda, Randolph Scott, Charlton Heston, Charles Bronson, Burt Reynolds, even Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, everybody's making movies out here, Westerns. Then in 1986, it all gets a facelift. It has to look like the Hotel Del Toro with the plaster and the arches. Or Mexico, 1916. 3 actors come out and help us make a movie. Chevy Chase, Martin Short, and Steve Martin. What is that movie? Bienvenido a Mexico. We're standing in a building that was called the Cantina del Borracho. It stands for Bar of the Drunks. It's a rough bar. We're introduced to it. People are getting killed in there. There's banditos, there's revolucionarios, there's desperados. On the bar, there's a bowl of Doritos. There's everything. And then the 3 amigos do a song and dance number. You remember? My little buttercup, as sweet as... Yeah. Anyway, they step out. They watch that German fella fly his biplane right over the Hotel Del Toro. And it's still here today. Okay, now, in about 1 minute, they're going to start the gunfight. So I'm going to have you all go this way so you can get a good view of it. And then we'll pick up the tour afterwards, okay?
Poker face game. Not the strongest.
Well, hey, you take care, Clay. I'll see you soon.
See you around, Kirk.
Lost my husband.
Stewart. Jeb Stewart, look at me when I'm talking.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, mister. My name's Tim McCanson. I run this here. Oh, hold on now. Don't misunderstand. Come on, man.
You know how long I've been looking for
Hey,
you?
hey! What's going on out here?
Why don't you just mind your own business, huh? Just get me, baby.
You put that gun down. I'm Marshal Clay Simmons. No one shoots up this town. State your name and your business.
Name's Tanner. Storekeeper there. His name is Jeb Stewart. He's got a bounty on his head. And I'm gonna take him back east to collect that bounty.
Tanner. Seems I am familiar with your friend, but you're wrong. That there's Tim McCanson. He's been in this town for 3 years.
That ain't no McCanson. That's Jeb Stewart. And just 3 years ago, robbed a bank back in St. Louis. Coincidence? Now he's worth $2,000, dead or alive. But like I said before, I have to collect that bounty.
McCanson? Hey, McCanson, get on out of here. Tim, what's this all about?
Come on, Clay. You know me. For 3 years now, I'm a law-abiding citizen.
All right. Just don't need to get all riled up, but this is pretty serious. You should go inside, go about your business. We'll take care of this. Thank you, Clay. So, Tanner, seems we're familiar with your reputation. Here in Tucson, we have a strict no-gun policy, so you are gonna have to check in that sidearm with me. If anything you say is true, he's yours. But I am gonna have to wire ahead to check your story.
No, Tim. You ain't after my bounty. I've had this pulled in other towns, but it ain't gonna happen.
I'm not after your bounty. But in any case, you're still gonna have to check in that gun with
I
me.
ain't checking my gun. And he's gonna go back with me today.
Tanner, being a bounty hunter, I don't think you want a bounty on your own head. I also don't think you're stupid enough to drop on an unarmed man. So just hand it over.
All right, Marshal. That's the way you want it.
Don't do this, Tanner. Fine, get him! What's it gonna be, Tanner? Your gun or 5 days in jail?
All right. I'll give you my gun. You just know I ain't leaving here without Stewart.
See about that, Tanner. As you stay out of trouble.
Hey, McCann, get out here.
What do you want? You heard what the marshal said? Best thing for you to do? Just get. Leave me be.
Oh, come on now. Back east, he was known as Jeb Stewart. Real good at robbing banks. No, I heard you're pretty good with a gun. You better hope you can still handle one. Because you're going to need one by the time I'm through with you in this town. Listen, Tanner. I ain't the man you're looking for. That's funny. Because I see you are. Ah! If you got any guts, you can strap on a gun.
You're pushing me, Tanner. Don't you push me no more.
Push you? What do you think it is I'm trying to do, huh? You're gonna go back with me, one way or the other.
Come on, man.
Come on, Stewart. Come on. I'm going right now to go get my gun from that woman. Then I'm coming back. You're smart, you're gonna be wearing one too. Like I said, Stuart. Gonna collect that bounty one way or the other. Now go get yourself healed. Hey, Marshal, let me talk to you for a minute.
What is it, Tanner?
Look, that ain't the man I'm looking for. That ain't Jeb Stewart, just really look like him, I guess. Seems like I made a mistake, and I rightly apologize.
Well, you better check it next time. You might not be so lucky.
All right, well, if you go and fetch my gun, I should be on my way.
One more thing before you go. If you ever have any business in this town, you are on ahead. Might not be so kindly next time.
All right, Marshal. Whatever you say.
Why you still can't get out of my town? Pronto!
Tanner!
Well. You do have more guts than I gave you credit for. Now, you'll make this nice and lady for me, won't you, Stuart?
You taped me the first time, Tanner. I spent 3 years fearing someone like you coming along. Now that you're here, I'm glad. Because I've been tired of running.
Why don't you quit your mealy mouth? There's no talking your way out of this one. You gotta make your move.
You're trying to, mister. There's one thing you should know before you try and take me in. You think I'm rusty with this here gun? I spent every day in the desert, 3 years with this gun, preparing for this moment. I knew my past would catch up with me, but you can only get hung once. So I reckon you make your move.
You're bluffing. You're just bluffing.
You lousy, stinking ton of guts! I ain't bluffing! I had it up to here with your lousy jabber. So you either draw or you crawl on your belly out of this town.
I don't crawl my belly for no one.
Then draw! You're just a bladder full of hot air!
Tanner, you sick! Guess I don't have to ask the question, do I, Tim?
Yeah, Clay? I'm Jeb. Jeb Stewart.
Yeah, I figured. You know, I was really hoping this would all just blow over. You know what this means, don't you?
You ain't taking me in. Is that what you want, Clay? You want to see me in some cage like an animal? I'd rather be dead.
Tim, come on, let's be reasonable. We've been friends for 3 years. And you never said this, but you're the best friend I ever had.
Oh, Clay. You know, I thank you for that friendship. And now you know it's your job to take me in. And now you know I can't let you do that. You gotta understand, Clay. I gotta try. I gotta try to stay free.
Don't make me do this. Don't make me kill you.
I'm sorry, Clay. Clay.
Stuart!
Clay!
Tim, Tim, no! God. No, no, no. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Didn't know.
The consequence of war, hunted and the hunter, was an inevitable death, and it would be many years before legislation would outlaw the bounty hunter. The time finally came when a hunted man had the opportunity of a fair trial. Not what you've seen here, where selfish motives caused the untimely deaths of friend and foe alike. And now where a law officer was forced to take the life of a close and loyal friend. This was truly the day of the hunter.
All right, so behind me is the Mission de Santa Maria. This dates back to the 1940 movie as well, but back then it was a small adobe chapel, barely bigger than the door frame. And over the years it's grown, it's moved, the fire damaged it, but it still survived that, and it's still around today as a Spanish mission. So 86 years of Spanish mission, pretty good. It's been in probably about 400 movies and TV shows, so there's a really good chance if you watch a lot of these things, you've seen it more than once, you didn't even realize it. It gets set in the background in a lot of films. One of them is Hombre, starring Paul Newman and Richard Boone. In that movie, Rose's Sweet Shop right behind you is a stagecoach station. Stagecoach in front, that's in the background. There's a scene in there, behind those windows there, between those two heavy hitters, Richard Boone and Paul Newman. If you've never seen Richard Boone play a bad guy, you're in for it. Watch that movie. He's a heck of a bad guy. Some of you know him as Paladin from Have Gun Will Travel, where he was mostly good guy. But I think he really exceeded expectations as a bad guy. All right. Another guy comes out here, and he also rides that line, that sort of anti-hero, and you know him. His name is Clint Eastwood, and he did 2 films out here, Outlaw Josie Wales and Joe Kidd. In Joe Kidd, he takes a bunch of bad guys right past the mission on horseback, boards the same train we used in the movie Tombstone, drives it in the back of a saloon, and then braces bad guy Robert Duvall. All right, now, couple more fellas. First of all, we got Audie Murphy out here. Now, some of you hopefully know who he is. Audie Murphy's the most decorated soldier in World War II, the most, right? Comes back home, gets a hero's welcome, and then he becomes a movie star. A pretty great story right there in general, right? It is a lot of westerns out here. One of them is Guns of Fort Petticoat, where he and a bunch of ladies hold off raiding Apache warriors right there in that church. It's a pretty cool scene. All right, there's another guy, Glenn Ford. Hopefully you know him. Glenn Ford does 7 movies out here. He stars in 7, and actually gives him the award for the most starring roles at Old Tucson. He did more than John Wayne by 3. And one of those was 310 to Yuma, and the one over here is The Sackets, starring Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott, and those are his co-stars in that, and a couple other guys. Okay, now, most of you will know it from El Dorado. This is the bell tower sequence in the John Wayne movie. Rio Lobo, it's in the background, and the movie Tombstone. Tombstone, the very opening sequence, you're introduced to the cowboy faction, the Red Sash Gang. They get off their horses. It's in 112-degree weather, which will be this time next month. And they approach that church, and a wedding party's coming out of there, and they wipe them out. They kill them all in cold blood. Terrible scene. Johnny Ringo, played by actor Michael Biehn, shoots a priest over there in the corner for babbling too much. Now, these sound like horrible things. They're supposed to be. Because Hollywood, as it always does in all these kinds of movies, they're making the bad guys do terrible things so that you hate them, right? I mean, really terrible stuff. The truth of the matter is the Cochise County Cowboys, as they were better known, never wiped out a wedding party, and the real Johnny Ringo never shot a priest. Hollywood stuff. But it's entertaining, isn't it? If you stay till 3:30 today, which, you know, by the way, the wind's going to pick up a little bit, but it should be nice and pretty at that point. We're going to have a stunt show in here. Very similar people that you saw in the other one, and we're going to add some women in there, and it's going to be explosive, and literally someone's going to get blown up. And somebody will get shot off that top story and fall to the ground. They've been a little mean to me lately, so I'm thinking of moving the bag. So. I said that out loud, didn't I? Yeah. Sorry. All right. Anyway, come back and see that. But we're still using this as a movie set. This actually just got used in a movie that's out on Amazon Prime. It came out last year. It's called Among Wolves. It's $5.99. It's an independent Western starring Trace Adkins, Tom Berenger, and James Russo, as well as Jeff Fahey. And who watches Yellowstone? Anybody watch Yellowstone? Yeah? Yep. Another guy named Forey Smith. On Yellowstone, he plays Lloyd, the oldest cowboy in the ranch with the big white mustache, right? I got killed over there in front of the hotel. A lot of us did. Most of us got killed in that movie. The only trouble is I didn't hear him release everybody, so I was laying there for about an hour. And before he came up and he told me I could go, and I said, oh, okay. He said, do you know I was a stuntman out here? I said, no, I didn't know that. 31 years ago. He said, how do you think I got in the movie Tombstone? Well, if you guys know Lloyd and you know the movie Tombstone, now we have a connection with Yellowstone, Little House on the Prairie, and Tombstone. And we're going to add one more in there, Sesame Street. Don't ask. But yeah, it happened. But yeah, he was in that scene I just told you about. And you'll find him too, because he has the same mustache as he has today. It's just not white 30 years ago. So pretty cool that he got his start out here. And that's fun. Another movie that's coming out this summer that we shot is called Long Shadows. Stars Jacqueline Bisset. Anybody remember her? Yeah, I thought she was dead too. It's okay. She's still alive. All right. It also has Dermot Mulroney from the first Young Guns, Bad Girls, My Best Friend's Wedding. Oh, by the way, that was used in Young Guns too, also, by the way. And a guy named Dominic Monaghan. Now, you won't know him in the Western genre, but you will know him if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, because he was a Hobbit in all three of those movies. He's not a Hobbit in this movie, though. That's the good thing. So that's coming out this summer in theaters in July, so we're looking forward to that. I know that you all want a good Western to come out. So do I. And I hope that a place like Old Tucson continues to thrive and still make Westerns. And that's the important part. But thank you so much for coming to our movie set today. I appreciate it. Go walk around. Go have fun. Make sure you cash out your 401ks if you want to get a slice of pizza, though. So, yeah. But enjoy yourself. If you have any questions, just ask somebody with a cowboy hat on. We'll figure it out for you, okay? Thank you all for coming today. Come back. All right. So this whole area was used in the movie Rio Bravo. And Stumpy was over there behind an adobe wall throwing dynamite. That's the warehouse, which would have been just behind this building.
Oh, okay.
And this is the area I want to show you. If you look right here, you see the exact placement of Mr. John Wayne. So stepping right where you are, a little bit right there.
Yeah.
Bad guy Claude Aiken right over there, and little Ricky Nelson in the window there. Wow. So this is exactly where it took place. The bad guys are in the warehouse over there. Yeah, so right against the mountain, not too far from that spot. So that whole thing happened right over here. And the building that Dean Martin was in was somewhere over there. That's the one where he beats up good old Claude Aiken's character, you know? Right, yeah. He says, Chance, throw me a gun, and Ricky Nelson throws him a gun. Yeah. And the fun thing about that, if you watch the movie, there's a pretty serious mistake in it where Ricky Nelson's in here and a bullet hits this wall over here. It might have been here, I don't know. That might have been replaced wood. Bullet hits it. They cut away to Chance, played by John Wayne. Right. When they cut back to Ricky Nelson, the bullet hole is gone.
Oh wow!
You have to watch that. Yeah, so you know what they did there. They goofed that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty fun stuff. So if you guys want, I can get a picture of you in front. Also in El Dorado and everything, it just redirects. It's all man-made. We don't have naturally occurring water out here. Oh, okay. So whenever they do movies out here with them jumping in the river, they have to create it somehow. And so it's been like this. Usually it's flowing and there's like a little waterfall up there, but we don't have enough security, I guess, to have somebody stationed out here to make sure kids don't jump in there. Yeah. You know, because kids do. When I do tours in the summer, they go jumping and diving in there. It's like, what are you, crazy? I mean, there could be man-eating tarantulas in there. You never know. The bridge coming sort of this way, right? And this is in the background of that movie, so he's over there, and that's where that building once was. Oh, okay. That building got torn down years ago, but to make room for something else.